Mohua Chinappa is a Bangalore-based author, podcast, storyteller, and speaker whose work spans literature, media, and advocacy. She's the creator and host of the Mohua Show, a podcast that brings to life stories from across India, and the Literature Lounge, a space dedicated to authors and books. With over 3.7 million downloads and 280 plus episodes, Mahua's podcasts celebrate inspiring voices and lesser known narratives of resilience, ambition, and change. Her latest book, Thorns in My Quilt, is a deeply personal exploration of grief and resilience through letters to her late father. Her other works include If Only It Were Spring Every Day, Dragonflies of My Dreams, Emily Dickinson Award winner, in, uh, and, and Notanki Sala and Other Stories, which won the PVLF Best Debut Award. She is also a member of Bridge India, a UK based think tank fostering UK South Asia dialogue, and has spoken on prestigious platforms like TEDx and Josh Talks, addressing themes such as creativity, gender equality, and personal growth. So, welcome, Mohua.
Thank you, Sabine. Thank you so much. I'm extremely honored to be here with Veera, with Usha, with Ekta, and with you. And it'll be wonderful for me to hear everyone's trajectory, about how we come into this space to talk our hearts out. Mine has been, I'm sure we'll all meet at a certain crossroad when we get down to talking. It's also, I discovered myself after, everything fell apart like a pack of cards in my own personal life. And I'd been a homemaker for very, very long. And the whole world was rejecting me at that time because they didn't think that I could write anything beyond grocery lists and, signing my son's report card. And it's from there that the journey began. And I feel very fortunate to be here among all of you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Mohua. And I absolutely agree with you. The way, women's lived experiences are trivialized. This is something that, needs to be talked about. And, we need to give a different, share a different, or create a different narrative. So thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Welcome you all again to the panel today that's called Patriarchy and Power in Intimate Spaces. We're going to be looking at how patriarchy affects all our lives as women and as men, in fact, in South Asian societies. And, I would like to actually begin with Mahua, because you've recently had a book launch, Thorns in My Quilt, and I'll just pick it up and show it here. Congratulations for that, Mohua. It's a book that's letters from a daughter to her father, and this is about these are letters that you've written to your late father, and it's really heartfelt. These are letters that I think a lot of Indian women would, and a lot of South Asian women will identify with, especially the depictions of how patriarchy plays out in the domestic space. So please tell us about these power dynamics and how they work in Indian homes. Even something as simple as wearing lipstick sometimes is not a decision that a woman can take for herself.
Well, I think times have changed from before, but I don't think today's young girls are going to really, going to listen to someone telling them to not wear lipstick. But yes, my mother never ever wore lipstick because my father always said that it would not suit her. And so while I was growing up at home, there used to be a Fair and Lovely cream that Ma used, and a talcum powder that she also put on top of her Fair and Lovely, just to look, fairer. And strangely for me, he was okay to buy me one lipstick, that was pink in color, and I remember that. And I think the way one dresses up also at home, there is a very, there are so many things that are left unsaid and said in homes that they become a part and parcel of how you grow up. And these are very subtle things. They'll just tell you that, oh no, this is not looking nice on you. And I think, you could cover yourself a little bit more. And so in spite of being so, extremely well read, my father was extremely well read, and he was a man I looked up to. And today, if I'm here, a part of it, I do give credit to him because he did inspire me in so many ways. And the inspiration also made me question him. So this book I had to write, Ekta, because I was tormented with the way, they did not show up for me when life was really at the crossroads for me. And being a single child, I had always shown up. And here they were not willing to do things that I was hoping that I was very sure that they would do. So that's where the book, the letters came out. And, a grief. Equations between parents and a daughter in India. And I think, I don't know, I won't speak about the world because I don't know how that works. These are not things that people talk about. And for me, I needed this whole catharsis. So I needed to write those letters. And I knew these letters would never, ever get a reply ever. And how, as a caregiver, I was so, it was so difficult. And I often wondered if the kind of language, if the kind of attitude that he had with me, would he do that with a daughter-in-law or, with a son? I don't think so. They would be a little more, I think they would think before they said things. And so those letters were about also the fact that he never ever had the ability to show physical love. And that's the kind of blackboard that you have for the relationships ahead, because a father daughter relationship is an extremely, it's the, I think, the foundation of how a girl relates to the men in her life. And so yes, I really bled in this book, and it wasn't easy uh, to put myself out there and write about it. But a huge part of me has healed. I used to really cry a lot on my own. I could not understand, why that kind of harshness.
Mhm. Yeah, the that tenderness, that vulnerability, it sort of comes out in the book. As you go through it, it's the way you're talking to your father. I mean, I can completely relate to it because there are so many things in it that I think any Indian girl would like to talk to her father about. Like you said, a simple thing like, why wouldn't you hug me? Or why wouldn't you be affectionate with me, which sets the tone for your later relationships.
Yeah,
So
Ekta.
yeah. So thanks for sharing your vulnerability through the book and allowing so many other women to have that catharsis, with you. Because this is another topic that you've brought up in your book. Um, it's about parents not always having faith in their daughters. And I remember there's this touching line in your book where you're looking at your father's bookshelf and you're hoping to see your book there, but it's not. So why is it that Indian parents have huge expectations for their sons' careers, but they don't take their daughters' careers that very seriously?
So I think in my case, it was this, that I had become the caregiver for them.
Mm,
And you see, it was an equation where they knew that if I found my wings, their lives might just get compromised. I might
mm,
just start getting very busy. And I think that he kind of did not respect, my level of writing ever, or he
mm,
did not think that I really had enough intellect with me. And not think, I'm very sure about that. And so I just feel that for him, he did not ever think that I was capable of doing anything at all whatsoever. There was a disdain in anything that I spoke and wrote or did. And in a way, it just benefited everybody around them, because you see, the minute a woman is chained into her circumstances and her wings are always clipped, and she's inside the cage, it works for everyone who's cleaning the cage, feeding the cage, and asking the bird to sing the song that they want her to sing. And that was the situation that, for me to stay on for years in this golden cage that was really comfortable, and I was too frightened to really go out there and figure out what is it in the open skies ahead, whether there would be a huge storm or whether there would be this rain that would drench me and kill me. And I represent a huge number of women even today in a country like India, where they go on staying on in relationships where, they're cleaning the undergarments of their husbands and, cooking the food and exactly like the way his mother has, cooked for him so that they get that validation. And yet there is no emotional equation between them or physical also. And they continue to live in these relationships because they're very frightened. And as far as my book is concerned, there was hope always because I thought he would be proud. For a homemaker, I was a homemaker. I gave up my career at the pinnacle of my work. I was nationally heading the PR division for Grey Advertising, which is one of the top agencies, in among the top agencies in the world and in India. And then when I gave it up because my son had a lot of allergies and all of that, and obviously no one else could have looked after him like the way I did. And so when I gave it up, there was this whole very silent celebration that now we don't have to deal with her traveling to places. We don't have to deal with her to not ask us for money. We don't have to deal with her independence in such a way that she can, move on. And everything is good. Everything is fantastic when, you're not questioning the status quo. So when I wrote my first book, and this I wrote actually in the ICU when Baba and Ma were constantly taking turns, to go in and out of the hospital. And it had really taken a toll on me, Ekta. It was, and it wasn't this that, he was very angry as a person because he carried his own past with him. And his anger, he took it out only on me and Ma. And my mother was okay to deal with all of that. I wasn't all right, and so she just thought that it's like, it's a man who's getting angry and he's going to just go ahead and say things and you forget about it, and the next day you again start going into the kitchen to make him his cup of tea exactly like the way he likes it. But for me, it wasn't all right. I kept questioning, and the minute you question and you ask them to sit in shame, for the things that they say to you, they don't like that. And most men don't like that. So yes, there was a huge disappointment when I saw that he'd not even want to read my manuscript, because I kept going to him knowing that he's such a voracious reader, and he was exceptionally intelligent when it came to history, literature, and the rest of the things, but he wasn't intelligent with his emotions at all. And yes, his bookshelves are still there, and my book is in there, and I'm all right about it now.
Yeah, actually, this point that you've raised, it's the similar topic is raised in the web series Adolescence, in which the father is getting angry on the family and how it impacts the boys, because anger is the only emotion they're allowed to show. There's no other emotion that's okay for the male of the
It's
family to show.
bravado for
Yeah,
men,
yeah.
Their sense of power is actually in the anger and the violence, and they consider that to be bravado.
Mm. So Usha has a message for you to construct your own bookshelf.
Thank you, Usha.
About that, Mohua? Or would you like to read out something from your book, maybe?
Yeah, maybe I could read out a letter that I wrote to him,
Yeah.
So it says, Dear Baba, I can see you sitting on a chair on my veranda. The barber has been called to cut your hair, shave your beard, trim your nails, and massage your head. You look like a little boy in a red sweater and a pair of track pants, feet placed firmly on the ground. As I go closer to say hello, your face twists into a shape that is unrecognizable. You start hurling words at me, calling me names. You are spewing hatred. I remember your face and the words so well. Oshikito Borbor, you screamed, uneducated savage. I feel anger rise up in me. My first reaction is to fight back and ask you to shut up. But I'm embarrassed to be shouted at in front of the barber. Your caregiver looks at me as if I'm a clown. I clench my jaws and laugh, pretending it's all a joke. They join in my little pity party. They laugh, but hesitatingly. Your eyes are full of rage. It's like if you had the power, you would kill me with your words. I walk inside the house. I can hear the doctor telling me he's losing his mind. Dementia is setting in. I'm ashamed of my anger towards you. I steady myself and walk towards the refrigerator. I take a slice of cheese and stuff it down my throat. The cold cheese gives me warmth. As I eat, I feel calm. I decide to go back to where you are sitting. You see me and start hurling hurtful words again. This time, I don't laugh. I stand still and say, yes, you're right about everything you say about me. You calm down, and your face now no longer shows disgust. Instead, you look defeated. I watch you cry and shrink, and my innards tighten. I tear up as if cut by the shards of a broken mirror. It is so badly broken that it can no longer hold a reflection that has mixed with the gravel of time. The only remnant is the twinkle of a glass that held the reflection of a small and happy family in Shillong many years ago. But to me, it's like a mirage. Did it even exist? Love, Manu.
Wow, that is so beautiful. And I must say, the whole book is full of these kind of conversations that such raw intensity and such emotion. Really, I mean, I think it encapsulates all that the topic of this discussion, the power in intimate relationships, how it is wielded by some and the others are just subject to it. Beautiful.
He
Thank you
was
for
so
sharing
angry
that.
all the time with me,
Yeah.
that Ekta, I haven't been able to, remove that from my head yet. And I have no idea why he was angry. You
Mhm.
know, I do not know because I've never ever done anything that crazy. Or was it because, he was a displaced person? And I don't know. It's been strange that the men I've known in my life, have all been uh, they've not been kind. I'm yet to meet a kind man, excepting for my son, Uh, I don't know what is it that bugs them about me. Is it the fact that I have a certain amount of power within me that I'm not aware of, and that pisses them off? So, what it is, I've not yet been able to articulate, but I'm in that journey. And this book, for me, I had to write this because I couldn't put myself together for the kind of anger, that he had, for the kind of anger that I also saw in my ex-husband now, and I'm, in the process right now of a divorce, and to me, bad behavior was acceptable because that is the way it was at home. He was like that with Ma when he was angry. And Ma thought that this was perfect because this is just the kind of a marriage that most people have. And, so she tried to cook something good to, work on the power dynamics. And there were huge signs of kindness that he had towards others. So I remained confused for very long.
Mhm.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have the capability to be kind, but just not to us when we are there. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Reading that. Oh my God, I need to write some letters to my mom.
Um, First of all, Mohua, it's not you. It's not us. It's the men. And they're afraid of the power that you exude. That's the problem. The hegemony is the problem. So it has nothing to do with you. Um, and the second point, your stories really resonated, when you're talking about your father. Um, it brought back a lot of memories. And, uh, like you said, my father, he's also, very well read. Uh, and I used to think, after the 40s, after your 40s, there's an unraveling. You're looking up to this, and I am who I am because of what he taught me as well. But there's this term that I really don't like, wokeness, and I feel it's performative wokeness that we see, in families that are liberal or secular or more, modern. But underneath that, there is that dynamic that you don't feel. You take it for granted what is happening, or the narrative, or what is happening to your mother. And my parents didn't have an abusive marriage. They had, uh, you know, a normal marriage. But the power dynamics, uh, that I saw after my 40s for some reason. So, and how they have played a role in, where, my perspective of life and the journey that we're in. So thank you so much for that. There's so many things that are coming in my mind, but let's just stop there.
Yes, I think this conversation can go on for a long time
Yes,
otherwise.
yes.